All right now. Hello, hello, hello. This is I Bring It Every Day. My name is Kelly, and today is Motivational Monday. And I'm going to be, this is the quote of the day because this was moving me. And this is from Norman Vincent Peale. And Norman Vincent Peale was a clergy member, and he believed in the power of positive thinking. All right, and we'll talk a little bit more in just a second, but I see Miss Suzanne is here. Welcome, welcome. It's cool outside. I know finally. They said it was gonna cool off. So I'm like, thank goodness. Because it's been brutal the last couple of days. Well, it's been the heat index, at least around here, has been bad. And I know probably out your way too. Yeah. So here it is. So here's Norman Vincent Peale. And he says, believe in yourself, have faith in your abilities, without humble but reasonable confidence in your own powers, you cannot be successful or happy. So I'm going to let that resonate there. I'm going to let that lay, but I'll just give you a little background. Let's see on Norman Vincent Peale. Okay. So here's the deal. He was one of the, let's see, let me get back to his life here. I hate to just give dates, but he had a very long life. He lived till he was 95 years old. So here we go. So here's the deal. He lived from, let me just make sure I got these dates right. Yeah, he was born in 1898 and he passed away in 1993. One of his famous books is The Power of Positive Thinking, and you can go check it out. And but anyway, it seemed like he has sort of a Methodist background, but I believe he, changed churches a little bit throughout life. Was a theologian, went to Boston University to get his one of his degrees. And he had a little bit of a psychological or psychiatry background as well. But he also had a radio show and wrote many books. And like I said, the biggest thing for him is this power of positive thinking. And I read the book many, many years ago. I can't, it's funny, I probably need to reread that book. And I think at the time that I read it, I really didn't understand because I was very young. I think I was probably 10 or 12 years old when I read the original book. And so the thing that you realize is that at that age, you really know nothing, in my opinion. And I'm just talking about myself, but for real, I think most 10-year-olds really don't have a clue. You don't really know anything about life and you don't really understand why positive thinking is important. And that's really the biggest thing. It's funny when I think back on that. I read that book, but I don't think I understood it. So, but after anyway, so I'll just give you a little bit of background for the people that don't know who might be listening in. I I'm kind of new to social media. I've only been on for 3 years, and I've experienced and seen a lot of negativity that's on social media. And about 2 years ago, I decided to sort of to start to have a little bit more positive content on my channel to just for a change. And we had gone through some pretty negative things in the communities where I was residing in terms of the internet and everything, and that's kind of what inspired me to move forward and start talking about positivity. But I had forgotten all about Norman Vincent Peale. So here he goes. So good morning, Bud Files. Welcome in. Yeah. So anyway, so like I said, he wrote the book, The Power of Positive Thinking. And the thing that I realized, just I've been doing this probably for a year and a half, not quite 2 years. No, it's not even been 2 years. It's been about a year and a half. And what I've realized is that when I tried to focus more on positivity, it seems like it's coming through my life. And if nothing else, I challenge anybody who's not working on positivity or not thinking about positivity to try to get that more into your life, because I swear it does really change your life. And that's really kind of the message today. Really, in a nutshell, if you're not living in a positive space, You got to get yourself there, because I feel like you will never progress forward or move forward or grow or what have you if you stay in a negative space. And if you can, try to remove any negativity out of your life if there is some in there, regardless of who that is: parents, friends, spouses, etc. Like all these things. And that is kind of the message for today. I'm just saying, like, we've been at the I Bring It Every Day channel. We've been in a positive space for a while, and I guess like Suzanne's been here the whole time, and I really appreciate that. In terms of the Motivation Monday, I just call it Motivation Monday just because it's Monday, and the whole thing is not that you have to do it on a Monday. I mean, you have to sort of motivate yourself to go forward every day. But the biggest thing that I realized is that when I was working, and you don't want to necessarily live in this way for anybody who still works, full time and all that stuff. But usually Sunday night you have a little bit of, I'll just call it depression for lack of a better thing to call it. And usually you're just like, oh, this is me. Oh crap, I have to go to work tomorrow. you know, and that's not really the best way to do it. You know what I mean? Because you've already set the tone for your week to be terrible. And so the idea of this whole thing is just to set the tone for the week to be a little bit more positive, and try not to live in that negative space. But it's hard because the world is really tough. It's hard out here, and I know all of you guys can attest to that. But um, you know, talking about motivation or positivity has been really, really tricky. I'll just be honest. I'm not saying that I've gotten, I don't know, it's really weird. Like, I don't know. I've gotten some positive feedback on it, but I don't really know if it's a good thing. I don't know. I know it's a good thing, but I don't know how other people are receiving it, or if even people care, or what have you. That's kind of what I was sort of had this conversation with my husband this morning. I said, "Is this the right thing to do? I don't know." And as I get older, I've been not questioning everything, but you know how you just kind of go, "Oh, is this the right thing to do? Is anybody going to receive it? Are people just going to blow it off?" I don't know. You ask, like, those are the questions that always go through my brain. When I do really anything, is this going to be worth the time and effort? Will people, enjoy it or hate it or whatever? I don't know. But there it is. But like I said, I like this quote because this is what, regardless of what you're doing, you have to believe in yourself, and you have to have faith. And see, and that's the thing. Like, Norman Vincent Peale was a pastor, and I don't know how everybody feel, what your status of faith is, but you know see, faith is basically having a belief in something that you may not be able to see. You know what I mean? And that could be God, that could be all these different things. So faith is really interesting. Like, a lot of people say, oh, faith is my religious practice. No, it really isn't. It really isn't. It's believing in your heart that something is there. You know what I mean? But I think that's a really good thing. You have to believe in yourself. You have to sort of let the naysayers, go to the side, and be strong within yourself, that your abilities will carry you to where you need to go. You know, because, and this is the thing, you will never be successful or happy if you don't have reasonable confidence. And see, I like this reasonable confidence thing, because what I've met, and it's interesting, and I'll say this, and this may or may not be popular, but I've noticed, on social media, there's a lot of people that have confidence, and maybe they have overconfidence in their abilities, and maybe I don't know, it's interesting. So I always find that the people that have the most confidence are the people that have the least amount of skills. And but I like this reasonable confidence. You have to have reasonable confidence in yourself, not overconfidence, but confidence. There's nothing wrong with that. But you will never be happy until you're secure, within yourself. And I think that is the message. Yeah. All right. Well, let me take a break for a second. I'm going to greet some more people. So we have hashtag VOM. Welcome in. And we have, let's see, Suzanne. Oh, here we go. Yeah, let's see. So we have the Bud Files. We said hello. And any of the lurkers, hello. I don't know if we have too many, but let's see. So let's see. Hashtag VOM is saying hello. Suzanne's weather. Yeah, rain showers today. I think we're all going to have it. It's very, very dark here, too. But the humidity is 76%, which is terrible. Yeah, hashtag VOM saying hi. And yes, and like I said, that with Nightbot, I appreciate anybody who supports the channel. I realize that being here is, you know, whether you have a big following or a small following, like you need, people, you need the support. So I appreciate all the support, regardless of what it is. The fact that you come in and humor me in my Motivation Monday is awesome. But I appreciate the members and the subscribers. Yeah. And there's Mr. Terry B. Hello. Yes. And then Suzanne said Sunday evening is like every other when not working, a 9 to 5. Yeah. But I do remember those days where I was just like, oh my gosh, here we go. It's time again to get back to work. And those days, and it's terrible that unfortunately, and I know I'm guilty of this. I'm one of those people who may or may not have worked in the correct field. And so of course there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that imposter syndrome. And but I think if I had truly loved what I was doing, I would have had no problems at all. And actually, and I had no problems getting out and going to work and doing my thing. I'm always like I'm pretty consistent in terms of those kind of things. Like I sort of know what I need to do, and so I do it, and I'm usually never causing problems and all that stuff. But of course, like you get lost in the sauce when you're too too predictable. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's see. Yep, everybody's saying hi. Yes. So that's the whole thing. But like I said, I've just noticed that, you just have to have this reasonable confidence. I love it. You know, in your powers. And and the thing is, not everything works out, but usually what you find is if you try something out and it doesn't work, then you just know that you need to rework it. And that's really the biggest thing. And a lot of people are like, I know I've been guilty of like being afraid to fail, but they say that failure sort of points you in the right direction if you're not there already. Yep. And I can't think of any examples of that myself in general, but a lot of people say like once if you're in the wrong direction, and things blow up or implode, that's usually a sign that you're not doing something right. And when I say right, I just mean you're just in the wrong direction. But like I said, I love this Norman Vincent Peale quote, and and that I just want you guys just to remember that for the week. All right. So then let's see. Trying to think if there's anything else that I could give you here. Yeah, so just getting back to Norman Vincent Peale, and I'm just sort of summarizing a little bit about his life. Put that E there. Yep, it's falling off. But the biggest thing is, he started out doing radio shows, and he was a Christian, and he had this show. It was called The Art of Living, and it lasted for 54 years, which is pretty amazing. And then from 1952 to 1968, he and his wife hosted a show called What's Your Trouble? And then so he and his wife are really, really close. They had a sounds like they had a pretty decent marriage. It lasted a long time. And in fact, I think they passed away within months of each other, which is interesting. And then he edited the Guidepost magazines. And I don't know if you've seen those. I forget where the heck those I see them. I see them all over the place. Like usually supermarkets and sometimes I forget where, and I used to read those from time to time. But he was an editor of Guidepost magazine. So it's very interesting. But like I said, but everything was, you know, positivity, try to keep your mind in the right way and having faith. Yeah. So that's kind of the there it is. That's kind of it in a nutshell. Yeah. So let's see here. I'm going to go back to the chat. Oh, yes. Oh, thank you. Life with Tasharia. Yes. Good to see you. Also known as Wellness with Frugal Mama. Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming in. And that's the thing that I love about him is that I always say, I always forget. Like he kind of I would say he was probably one of the earlier thinkers about positivity for sure. But he had a long life. He was 95 years old when he passed away, and he was born in the 1890s, which is crazy. So he lived from the 1890s to the 1990s. And so I know he must have seen a lot of stuff. So I'm going to try to go back and find some of his if there are any recordings of him like later in life, cuz I would love to see like what he thought about all the changes in the world and the country, which is crazy. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. Okay. So now let me see. I'm going to give you another quote here. Trying to think of this other one that he had. He has one more good quote, and it's about positivity as well. Let me see if I can find this other one here. Okay. But yeah, I do like this one. Yeah, believe in your abilities. You got to. You've got to do it. Let's see. All right, hang on just a second. Okay. Oh, and let me look at the chat real quick. Yeah, strong quote. Okay, nothing moved. Okay, good. Just want to make sure I got everybody. Let's see. Hang on a second. All right. Yeah, because there was one more good one that he did, and of course I didn't write it down. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, here it is. This is the other one I wanted to read. So this one here is interesting. He says, and this is how he lived his life. He said, "Live simply, expect little, give much. Scatter sunshine, forget self, think of others. Try this for a week and you will be surprised." And then he said, "Believe in yourself." So that's a long one. But yeah, I like this one. So I'm going to take this one down here for a second. I'm going to put this one up because I do like this one too. And I wanted to kind of leave you with this second one because I love it. This is good. All right, hang on a second. I'm erasing here. Yes. And you guys can tell me what you think of this. I just erased his name. We'll do it again. Okay. Okay, here we go. So live simply. This is interesting. Okay. Uh-oh. It's got caught on my bracelet. Comma. Expect little. Hopefully you can see that. Give much. All right. Scatter sunshine. Forget self. Yeah, that's a tough one. Yep, forgetting self and thinking of others. It's a long one. So sorry if this is a little out of the shot here. And he's saying, try this for a week. Mm-hmm. Oops. So maybe that's what, we'll have to see what happens. All right. So anyway, and then he says, believe in yourself. Okay. I'm just going to put Norman again. And then make sure I got to put this back in the shot. And I'm just going to leave this here. Okay. All right. Peale. Here we go. All right, here we go. Let me just check my camera here. All right, there it is. Yeah, that looks good. Oh, crooked. All right. Oh, 1SP. Hello. Good to see you. Welcome in. All right, so let's read this again. So live simply, expect little, give much, scatter sunshine, forget self, think of others. Try this for a week and you will be surprised. Believe in yourself. Norman Vincent Peale. So that's the second quote there. Let me see. There we go. That's better. Okay. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. So I'm going to challenge you to believe in yourself, be confident in your abilities. Don't compare yourself to other people. That's really important because everybody has special gifts and you have to be confident in your gifts. And your gifts are not my gifts are not your gifts, all that stuff. So work that. And then, live simply. See, this is interesting because I know in the United States, the people that are fairly wealthy do not live simply. And you see it, you see all that crazy materialism that gets people in trouble. Um, and then, volunteer, you know, be giving within reason. Don't let yourself get used, but try to scatter the sunshine, try to be as positive as you can, and think about others. Remember everybody's going through things. And I challenge you to try this for a week and you will be surprised. And let me know, in my in the video, if you come back to the video, let me know if that changes your life. Because like I said, I've been at this uh for about a year and a half now. And I will say that my life has changed a little bit for the positive. I mean, it's definitely more. I feel more at peace. I guess that's what I'm saying. And it's interesting. And like I said, I came to this kind of. We had been through some really crazy stuff. Well, I've seen some crazy stuff on social media. I'll just leave it. I'll leave it open. But and I just realized that these people who are haters can really wreak havoc on your life if you let them, you know. And so we have to sort of, fight the power. Like we gotta we gotta fight against, the haters and the negative people. Yes. Oh, sorry, I'm laughing at SP. It's very legible. Yes. Thank you. His using the handwriting is one of the most legible I've seen on YouTube. Yeah. So I do calligraphy, just a little. There's a little bit behind it. So I spent some time and I've taken some classes and things like that in there. But I also had like really intense handwriting people. I think it was like fifth grade. This woman was, out of her mind about handwriting, which I think is good. But the thing, but the tragic thing is, I think nowadays most people do not write anything. And when I'm able to, I send out a lot of cards when I can. And so I always handwrite them, usually. And that's what I do. Yep. Yes. Oh, and Suzanne's saying that's a great yeah. And I really think this is interesting. So, as crocheters and stuff, we donate a lot. Well, Suzanne donates all of her makes, which is great, to charity. And that's one of those things, I think right now charity is really important because a lot of people are really suffering, you know. And so, but you can also volunteer your time, and I think that's even more valuable because time is such a limited commodity. And I always say, hey, if you can give your time, to people, reading to the kids, things like that, that is a really positive thing that you can do in your life. And also if you're feeling kind of down in your life, definitely doing for others is good. And it does sort of make you feel good, and it reminds you that you have a lot to offer other people. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. So But that is really funny. Yeah. Yes, but that's a great oath. Yeah, I really think it's interesting, and I have to go back, and like I said, I'm gonna go back to that book that he wrote. Let me see. I'm gonna write it here. I'm gonna try to squeeze it in here. I think it's The Power of Positive Thinking. I want to make sure I got this right. Okay. Yes, The Power of Positive Thinking. I'm gonna just squeeze it in here, but check out this book. It's good, and I'm gonna try to rent it. I think I had a copy, but it's weird. I don't know what happened. I had some really good books, and when we moved, ugh, things happen. But I had uh, one of my clients actually was in Nazi Germany and had to escape. No, no, it was Poland. He was in Poland. That's what it was. And he signed it for me. He wrote this book, and he signed it for me. And for the life of me, I could not find that book, and I'm very sad. But anyway, there's some really good, there's some good books out there, and anyway, so this client was in Poland, during the Nazi regime, and he had to escape. Like they were bombing where he lived, and this story that he told, it was crazy. He was in a sleigh. Like, it was weird. He was riding a sleigh for part of the escape. Then he got then he rode a train, and then the bridge that the train was crossing was swaying because it was falling apart. And then he was running on foot. It was crazy. But anyway, I got to find that book. And this just reminds me because he did sign it. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of interesting. Okay. So yeah. So that's where we are today. But anyway, so let me know what you guys think in the chat, about the motivation. And like I said, I will try to continue, coming through, and like I said, usually what I do when I do these motivation, I just sort of go back to what I'm feeling in my heart. And then this is kind of what I'm talking about. But like I said, check out Norman Vincent Peale, good stuff. Let me see, 1898. Woo! He had a long life to 1993. That's crazy. Yep. Very crazy. So I would love to, he would have been a good person to interview. You know what I mean? Yeah, he would have been a great person to interview to see what he saw, in the 1800s. That's crazy. Yes. Yeah. And Frugal Mama has a new name. I love it. Oh, great penmanship. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's cute. Okay. That's really nice. All right. Okay. So you got to call each other. I know it's interesting. So this is no. Let me just ask you guys something. So I know, like, this whole YouTube thing. It's hard to change your name. Well, I know, not hard, but you know how you go back and forth and you go, should I use my handle? Should I use my name? All these things. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but it's interesting that I noticed, like, I always watch people's channel names and when they change. And the thing that, well, I'll tell you my little story. My little story is there's a bunch of people named Kelly that are crocheters. Unfortunately, we all do the same thing, so it was a little bit confusing. So I had to use a handle when I started my channel. But there were some Kellys that followed me, but I kind of, from time to time, I just threw my name in there just for funsies, because that's kind of what I answer to. But yeah, it's kind of interesting, like whether you add your name to it. But that's pretty cool. Yeah, but I do like the names, and I think the name should always represent sort of like who you are, or what you're trying to do or whatever. But anyway, yeah, it's very interesting. But yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of Kellys that crochet, so that's my problem there. But I do more than crochet. But you know what I mean. It's confusing, very very confusing for people. But that's great. So that's it, you guys. I did this a quick one. I was trying to keep it to about 30 minutes, and that's where we are. But make sure you come back next week. Like I said, I usually just see what's on my heart, and then I just go with this. But like I said, I challenge you to try this for a week and let me know what happens to you. If anything changes in your life. because I think that's a big thing. This is how and like I said, in positivity has changed my life, and it's given me a lot of peace. I will say, so just leaving you with that. There we go. Well, thank you all so much for coming in. I will see you soon on the YouTube streets. Come and check out a little crochet here and there. And oh, that's so cute. What is me? Oh, that's really nice. Here we go. Oops, pulling out of this. There we go. There's a shot. That's a better shot there. I got some knitting I'm going to be doing later, so I got some. That's what I'm going to be working on, and good thing. Yes, yep, that's for sure. Channel names reflect the goal of the creator. Yeah, and the other thing that I would say is, for me, and I don't know, what you guys think about this thing, but the I bring it every day sort of happened, sort of. I won't say it was accident. It was sort of accidental, but also serendipitous in a way too. But the thing that I know, so I was a YouTube supporter for a long time, and I decided to try some content and see what happens. But the evil plan of the channel was to try to do some positive. I'm not positive, but to do reasonable content that was not too boring, not too serious, but just something that I think that I hope that people find interesting. And so that's why I picked I Bring It Every Day. You know what I mean? Oh, that's so cute. Everybody's saying hi to Frugal Mama or to Sharia. Actually, I know it's going to be hard for me to break the Frugal Mama, but that's cool. So thank you to Sharia, Lamar, Suzanne, and Missy. Oh, it's great. And anybody lurking, peace and love. We love you. Yep, we love you all. But like I said, try to go out and do some good things this week. Be positive and enjoy. Try to do some things that bring you joy. And I'll give you a little ring. I'll ring the bell here. I mean the bowl. Let me see. Let's see if I can do this. This one doesn't ring as well as my other one. I'll have to get that one better. Let me see. Oh, the light is really. There's a little thing here. Give you a little ding here. Healthy. Let's see. Yep. All right now. Yes. All right. Oh, and thank you, Suzanne. Yeah, see, and that was my plan, just to have a little more substance and a little less, goofy. Although goofy's okay, but a little more substance. That's what I'm working on. Thank you so much. And you cut your grass. You want to do mine? Oh, my backyard's too high. Yeah, it's not good. Front yard looks great. Backyard, not so good. So I got to get back there. But good for you. All right now. Okay. That is amazing. Yes. That's right, Suzanne. All right. So anyway, so wishing you all well, you know, eat well, try to do something that brings you a little bit of joy because it's hard out here in the world, you know what I'm saying? And give yourself a break, it's okay. Sometimes, work is if you work yourself to an early grave, that's not good. So balance, 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 balance. Yes. All right. And thank you, Drizzle Stank, wherever you are, for doing my theme song. Go outside. It's not hot. Yes, that's what we're doing. Yeah, I got to change my clothes. Got to put my old gross stuff on and get out there. Yes, I will. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So peace and love. And here's some drizzle.